Hello everyone from St Albans. Hello, Fifi here. I'm back at my original home stand today. Was down for the Unite for Freedom protest in London yesterday. Absolutely exhausted. I've taken my shoes off, my feet are still killing me. Yeah, it was a long old march yesterday and I think there'll be quite a few of us feeling it today. It's an absolutely gorgeous day though. It does make it a lot easier. Let's just spin that round. Yeah, it's a really lovely day. Lots of nice natural clouds for once, which makes a pleasant change these days. So yeah, I don't know how coherent I'll be. Like I said, I'm absolutely pooped, but it was a great day. Again, we've seen numbers dropping a lot, and you know, it's really struck me that the reason that the numbers have dropped is that people think, well, you know, we're not restricted, we're not under restrictions, so what are we actually protesting for? Which that's a whole other subject. I mean, we've got a hell of a lot to be protesting against, but I just think the irony of people actually believing they're not under restrictions. Your whole life is governed by restrictions. The vast majority of us have been working for years and years and years in jobs that you'd never choose, given the choice, simply to survive. We're under massive restrictions as human beings because of this system, this power structure, every day of our lives. We're not free to roam. We're born into this amazing place. You can't just go wherever you like without paperwork, passports, which are a very recent invention. You're constantly tracked, monitored. You have to register your presence everywhere. That's not freedom. How's that not a restriction? You're restricted by when you can travel, if you have that luxury, which should not be a luxury. Why? Because your employer's telling you how much holiday you can have. Is that a free human being? I don't think so. You're restricted by money constantly. You can't afford to do the things that you would like. You can't afford to live the way you would choose because you are restricted. So restrictions are not gone. We're always under restrictions. It's just the most severe, visceral ones at the moment. You know, they're kind of on the back burner. The reason we were protesting yesterday is the sheer volume of bills and legislation here in the UK that's being passed with barely a mention. Every aspect of our lives. You've got the online harms bill, education, which doesn't just affect the home educators, it affects parents' right to have any kind of say in the education that their children are receiving at school. Mandatory lessons on eye-watering subjects that no children should be even thinking about until they're much older, and certainly not in the way that it's being presented. I mean, I'm not going to get into all of that, but I think a lot of parents will know what I'm talking about. We've got the police bills. They're trying to outlaw protest. I mean, this should really concern people. Why would they be doing that? For a start, if protest made no difference and they weren't fearful of it, they certainly wouldn't bother trying to outlaw our human right to stand up and say no. when we don't want to go along with something that affects our lives. But I think I've said this already, I think it's very indicative of what is coming down the road. They're preempting, they know the things that they're planning, people en masse are not going to just sit silently and accept. And so they're trying to sneak these bills through, so when the time does come and people are motivated again to really get on the streets in large numbers, they can justify arresting you and fining you, or even imprisoning you for doing so. It's not the time for complacency in any of this, but I think what I've come to realise is it just plays out this way, doesn't it? It's human nature. And look, I do get it. We're bloody knackered, a lot of us. And if you've got the chance to go on holiday, I don't blame you at all. Do it. If you can do it without having to jump through every hoop under the sun, absolutely. And enjoy, you know, the relative sense of freedom, 100%. Why not? But don't be fooled into thinking that this is over, or that we're not restricted constantly. There needs to be more expansive thinking about this, and about what it means to be alive, a human being, and how life should be, how life could be, and how it actually is. Because if you want a demonstration of what restrictions are, look at the way we're living. Does this feel natural to you? We've got depression, stress, anxiety through the roof for years. People living in absolute misery, in poverty. Nobody's life should be spent struggling just to cover your basic human needs. To be fed, watered, kept warm, clothed, sheltered, and that's the main focus, that you have to earn your right to live. None of us have to earn our right to live. We're born, and that's it. The job's done. That's our right. And access to everything we need just to keep our bodies safe and working. That is not what life should be about. Struggling to just keep yourself fed and clothed, and your family. And we've got this terrible capacity actually for suffering, us human beings. We've got this incredible capacity to normalise and absorb and acclimatise to things that absolutely go against everything that we are in here. And it's time for people to wake up and realise restrictions are not just a lockdown. They're not just you can't go here. How many taxes have we got now? They tax the fucking, excuse my language, but they would tax the fucking air we breathe if they could get away with it. We have to pay for drinking water, clean drink. Well, we don't even have clean drinking water. Where I live, it's heavily fluoridated, so we can't even use it. It's all completely unlawful. And yeah, we need to be standing up against all of the restrictions that recognise how restricted we are. This isn't just about COVID and the fallout from that, and it's how we've been living for years. Those that desperately want to get back to the old normal, not a chance. That's been designed for a very, very few people to enjoy, and fewer. You've seen it was never designed to last, and it's not how any of us should be living. You know, I think most of us, unfortunately, will get get to their last few breaths in this place, and will have hundreds and hundreds of dreams and aspirations and desires that were never fulfilled because of what we live in here. You can't do that, you can't go there, you can't, this isn't possible, you have to pay. It just goes on, and I think this is the next kind of stage in the awakening process, whatever you want to call it, is looking around and realizing we do not live, we don't live in a free society, and you've got a certain amount of freedom within extremely tight parameters, and we've got to stop believing anybody has got authority over us or has the right to dictate how we live, what our experience is as human beings for this brief time in this place. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking about this morning, is just how heavily restricted we are, regardless of whether we're locked down or being told to wear a mask. Yeah, that's it. I'm doing a bit of earthing here, grounding myself. It's a lovely day, and I hope you have a good rest of the day or evening wherever you are, and I will catch up with you very soon. Take care, lots of love.